Welcome, guys. So, topic 3 test review. We're going to do this one a page at a time. My recommendation is still you do a couple problems from every single page and go through the review like 2 to 3 times in terms of your preparation. But I got some feedback that in terms of a key, it might be better if we do one page at a time. So, I'm going to respect that. And so this is like the first page of the review. We're looking at rules and just trying to identify what rule, or I'm sorry, what transformation we are looking at. And so remember, the big thing that we're looking for to make our determination, especially in the formal rules, is what's subscripted. And so remember, subscript means that thing that's written kind of small and below the main letter. Okay, and so if we know what the thing is that I just highlighted, we can certainly identify what this is. Now, this of course is a vector. Okay, and it's a vector that's going to move. Let's see, this one left 3 and then up 5. Okay, or it should have kind of the rule xy goes to x minus 3, y plus 5. Okay, but in the end, we're going to call this thing a translation. Okay, and so even though the question doesn't demand all the information that I'm providing, keep in mind in preparation for a test, we want to be able to talk about things more than one way. Here in this boxed information, we have a line. Specifically, it's going to be a line of reflection. Also sometimes called a line of symmetry, also sometimes called a perpendicular bisector. But in the end, it denotes a reflection, and specifically the reflection is going to be over the y-axis. Okay. You can also call this, since the y-axis is like the up and down axis, we can call this a horizontal flip. Okay. Or a left-right flip. Okay. All those are equally good in terms of describing this particular motion. All right, moving on. Here we have a problem that's not going to actually be in formal rule form, but what we can notice is that we have addition. So since we have addition slash subtraction, we know this has to move by sliding left, right, up, and down. That's what happens when you add and subtract on the axes. And so this is going to be a translation again. And again, even though this isn't required, we should probably understand that this is going to move, let's see, right 2, and then down 3. And the formal rule would have that vector 2 comma negative 3. Okay, and so in terms of preparation, we should be fluid and understand all this information is related. Here we have another vector. Okay, so this is going to be a translation. Okay, so it's gonna slide positive 4 means it's gonna slide right 4. Minus 1 for the y means it's gonna be down 1. Okay. In terms of the rule, if we want to write that the rule, that means we'll have x plus 4, y minus 1. Here we have another line of symmetry, or again called line of reflection. Okay. So you definitely have a reflection over the x-axis. Now the x-axis is the one that runs side to side, and so we can also say that it flips vertically. Okay, or it flips kind of like up down. Okay, so it's going to flip over that x-axis, which means it's going to flip from like top to bottom and bottom to top. That's why we're saying up, down, or vertically. Here we have a rule, just like before, but this one doesn't have addition, subtraction. We should notice the only thing that happens here is a sign change. So what that kind of means is if I have this point, let's call it like 1 comma 3, and then I feed it through this rule, the x stays the same, and then the y changes to a negative value. And so this would go to like 1 comma negative 3. Okay, so if this is like xy, this would be like x comma negative y. And so we can see that we definitely did do a flip. It's not going to be a slide. We're going to flip, and particularly we're going to be flipping over the x-axis. And so this is going to be a reflection. Okay, in this case over x-axis. That rule would be big R with the x-axis like that. And then, yeah, we can totally describe this as a flip up-down or a flip vertically again. Oops. All right. So we're kind of in the groove now, and so here we have another vector. The vector is easily seen because of like these arrowing brackets. Okay, so this is going to be a translation, which means it's going to slide, in this case, right, and then down 45. And so that rule would be like x comma y. And that goes to x plus 103, y minus 45. Okay, here we have the rule, but again, we can see we have addition, subtraction in the rule. So this will be a translation. Okay, specifically, x comma y shall map onto x minus 4, y minus 10, which means we're going to have a slide of left 4. Because if we're traveling negative direction on the x, we're going to the left into the negative part of the x-axis. So left 4, and then we're going to go down 10. Okay, this one's maybe a little bit of a strange one because we don't have a y-axis or an x-axis, but we do have a line, and so this is still going to be the line of reflection. Okay, and so if we look at like the axes, x equals 2 by rule is a vertical line that passes through x equals negative 2. Okay, and so there's going to be like the line of reflection, which means if we have like a triangle on this side, it's going to flip to be a triangle on this side. And I'm kind of running short of space here, but we can see kind of like that's what the flip's going to look like. Okay, and so having said that, it's going to be a reflection over the line x equals negative 2, which means it's going to flip side to side, so that's a horizontal flip. Okay, or we can say it kind of switches left and right sides. All right. So one last one. We have, again, a plus-minus rule. That's a signal for a translation. Okay. In particular, xy travels to x minus 7, y plus 4, okay, which means we're going to slide left 7, and then we're going to slide also up 4. All right. So that concludes page 1. And this is like the basic soft skill of the test. You're going to be presented with lots of things that are presented just by the rules. And so you're going to have to interpret what those rules mean. And so the big takeaway here is not really so much the letter, although the letter, yes, will be informative. What you're really looking for are vectors and plus and minus rules for translations. And you're looking for some kind of line for the reflection because, of course, that's what it needs to operate. It needs a line. Okay. So that concludes part 1, guys. I'll see you back on page 2.